All right, back again with another UST podcast with me and Brett Violett. Um, so a lot going on, especially in the NBA. That's what we're mainly going to talk about today. A little bit about the NFL and the late round picks, but just going to talk about basically the NBA all day. This whole podcast is about the NBA and the playoffs. So first, one thing we want to talk about is best matchups for this next round. So the round one has already ended, basically. I mean, we still have a couple games left that are playing tonight, and we kind of talked about this before the stream, or before the podcast. You know, the Mavericks are probably going to win that series, based on how the Clippers played last game. I'm sorry to say that, but and I know they're at this current moment we're recording this podcast, the Cavaliers and Magic are tied right now. But from what we know already, what are you excited to see? Like, if you can guess who is going to win those games tonight, what are you excited to see in this matchup in the round two?
I think the Magic are gonna win tonight. They've got like 1 minute left.
Yep.
But they've been playing great defense. They started this series off slow offensively, but they found their groove.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mavericks
I think
are a
they're
scary
gonna
team for sure, or the Magic is a scary team
Magic.
for sure.
Yeah. And then between the Clips and the Mavs, I think it's gonna be the Mavs. I don't know. The Clippers, they're just an old team.
Right.
And so I think the Mavs are able to pace themselves pretty well against
Yeah.
a team like the Clippers.
In the game the last game they played, you could tell that the Mavericks, the adjustment was to push the ball.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched that game, but every time Luka Doncic got the ball, he pushed it as fast as possible. Or Kyrie, I mean, they were going for layups. Usually Luka, plays really slow and methodical, and times he did that. But when there was any steal or any like loose ball and he got it, he was pushing it immediately. So that's why I think, especially against the older Clippers, the Mavericks are probably going to win. Any other matchup you're kind of excited about? I'm honestly, I am kind of excited about this Nuggets Timberwolves game. What's your kind of thoughts on that matchup?
Me too. I think it should, like, on paper it's gonna look like it's gonna be a great matchup.
Yeah.
I do kind of think the Nuggets are gonna have their way with the Timberwolves, though.
Right.
One I'm looking forward to, though, is I want to see the Thunder and the Mavs. I think that'll be a great series.
That'll be a fast-paced series for sure.
Yeah.
And then, this rugged matchup here with the Pacers and the Knicks. I mean, I really like how the Knicks play. They don't have all their pieces. A lot of injuries because their starters play 45 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Which is probably not going to help them when they get in the later rounds, especially if they go 6-7 or game series every time. But I really like how these Knicks play. This Knicks team. Josh Hart is the life of that team, especially against these Pacers. The Pacers have a chip on their shoulder, but they did play the Bucks that were hurt half that series. So,
Yeah.
And like you said about talking about the Timberwolves game again, I do think the Nuggets are going to win that series, and just because the Timberwolves are a younger group, and if you watch the Lakers series, you can tell that the Nuggets are just such a good team. Like, it's almost unbeatable. And like you said I'm excited about the Mavericks and Thunder game. Even though it's not probably my most excited about. I do like watching Luka play. But yeah. So moving on into what's kind of your projection? So when we go into these next series, what's kind of your projection of the conference finals in the West and the East?
So for the East, I have the Celtics and the Knicks. The Celtics are either going to play the Magic or the Cavs. Both teams, I think, are solid, but the Magic are such a young team. I don't think they're going to have the experience to take down the Celtics. And the Cavs, I don't think can play consistent enough to beat the Celtics.
Yeah, Celtics
in a 7-game series. And then the Knicks, I think their guard play is just so elite with Jalen Brunson.
Mm-hmm.
The only threat to them I really see is Pascal Siakam right now. If he plays out of his mind.
Yeah.
And then in the West, I have the Nuggets and the Thunder. The Thunder, although one of the youngest teams in the league, they're very mature.
Yeah.
And they play at a high level on both ends of the floor, which I like. The Nuggets are the Nuggets. They're
so fun to watch.
Yeah, they play such a good brand of basketball too. And they don't really ever make a lot of mistakes.
Right.
They communicate well. They're just a good all-around team.
They're a great closer. Okay, going right into the next kind of topic is about the Nuggets, and it's kind of a bonus question on the Nuggets. Besides Jokic and Jamal Murray, besides those two, the main two, who do you think is the catalyst in that group? Because I kind of have my answer, but I kind of wanted to hear your kind of discuss this. Who is like not a bench player? It could be a bench player, it could be a role player, but the Nuggets have so many great pieces. Who do you think is the one piece that makes this team so good besides those two people?
Yeah, I've got two guys in mind. Aaron Gordon's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
He's just an all-around glue guy, plays defense. He has completely metamorphized as a player, going from just being a dunker to this all-around kind of big guard, kind of.
Yeah.
And then Michael Porter Jr. has also just been playing so well. Like he was so efficient in that series against the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably say Aaron Gordon, just because I feel like he does a little more overall than Michael Porter Jr. But Michael Porter Jr. has been playing great.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. When you watch like Michael Porter Jr. is going to be, one of those guys that's going to score 15, probably 8 games out of 10. But Aaron Gordon is going to play Aaron Gordon style of basketball every game. He's going to run the floor. He's going to grab offensive rebounds. He's the kind of, like you said, the glue guy that keeps them going. But I just wanted to talk about that because Michael Porter Jr. completely destroyed the Lakers. He was the one guy that, I know that Jamal Murray hit all those shots, but Jamal Murray didn't really shoot well in the first half of those games. And he came alive. It's Jamal Murray. He came alive with 3 minutes left, like we talked about. I know we talked about on Instagram, but Michael Porter Jr. kept him in those games, and he shot so efficient. And just going right into the next, we were talking about Jamal Murray, and we were talking about him like thriving in the last 3 minutes of a game. Is Jamal Murray the most clutch player in the playoffs right now? Do you think that's a true or false?
I think that's true. He comes alive when his team needs him.
Yep.
I think runner-up could be Tyrese Maxey or, honestly, Derek White. Derek White kind of bailed the Celtics out in Game 4. But I would say I would give it to Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
Overall,
for sure. And you kind of mentioned Tyrese Maxey. Another great clutch. Like, he's playing clutch right now. He's kind of early on in his career, so he hasn't done it as much as Jamal Murray has. When you look at last year's run, and then they don't talk about Jamal Murray until the playoffs. And that's just when he goes crazy. So my kind of picks were Jamal Murray, obviously, and then SGA. I feel like SGA is a clutch player, but he's just not on the level of Jamal Murray. I feel like SGA hits big shots, but not buzzer beaters and stuff like that. Like Jamal Murray, he scored the last 6 points in a row for that team. Like going down the stretch with a minute left, back and forth. It was all Jamal Murray. I do agree that he is the most clutch player. And now that we kind of talked about the Nuggets, and I don't know if you kind of watched the Nuggets Lakers series, but you could just tell that the Lakers are just not a winning championship caliber team. And I think that's just an obvious thing. They did just fire every single coach on their roster. What's kind of your grade of LeBron's tenure in a Lakers uniform? You had the bubble championship, but everything else was kind of a dud. What's kind of your A through F grade of his tenure there?
Yeah, I'll give him a C plus. He won one ring, and he did set the scoring record in a Lakers uniform.
Right.
And honestly, LeBron has been playing well.
Yeah, for sure.
But overall, they haven't done anything else besides that one championship.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I would probably give it like a C minus. If the Nuggets weren't there last year, they probably would have won the finals. So, and they had a good team last year. I wish they would have kept that bubble team together for one more year. We could actually see them play I know that there wasn't a lot of fans in the year after that, but in an actual arena setting. We can have this conversation another time, but I do think that the bubble ring is not a Mickey Mouse ring. I think that was a real ring. That was for real basketball. So I would give it a C minus. I feel like they could have won a lot more games in the regular season. His first year there, the team wasn't very good, just at all. So, and he was kind of hurt all the time. So, C minus. And going right into the next one, what do you think the Lakers need to win that championship? I know it's kind of easy to say, yeah, what do they need? But who do you think they should go after in this free agency or this draft? Because they have a lot of draft capital.
Yeah, I mean, they need help at center.
Yeah,
I think you can't rely on Anthony Davis to be, like Anthony Davis all the time, and he struggles with injury. So I think if they get a big that can stretch the floor, that'd be great. They also need a solid, like a consistent 3-point shooter.
Yeah, that's where LeBron thrives is having shooters around him. You saw that in Miami, you saw that late in the Cleveland years. That's where he thrives.
But I think more importantly, they need a true head coach.
Yeah.
There's rumors about Ty Lue, coming over from the Clippers because his contract's up. I know Mike Budenholzer, I think, would be a good fit. They could even try a guy out like Juwan Howard. I don't know how that would work.
Yeah. I do agree that the last couple years their coaching has not been a coach.
Yeah.
So I do agree. Go ahead.
And then I have a dark horse, JJ Redick. He's interviewed for some other jobs. So
I feel like JJ Redick, when you watch him on TV, he's definitely going to speak his mind and not let LeBron.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I think LeBron and JJ have a relationship.
Yeah.
They have their podcast that they're doing right now.
Right.
So I think LeBron would be more apt to listen to a guy like JJ Redick than a guy like Juwan Howard.
Mm-hmm.
But also again, Mike Budenholzer, I think, is a great coach. I think what happened in Milwaukee, like how Milwaukee treated him, was kind of stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I've also seen people talking about Frank Vogel. I think that would not be a good fit. I don't
Yeah.
think Frank Vogel's a
I mean,
great coach.
they already fired him from. I think that's the thing of the
Yeah,
Lakers, and you
yeah,
know he won the championship, but he wasn't really a coach during that.
yeah.
So I do think that they need a center. They need a true center, like they have Dwight Howard in that championship season. Someone that can control the paint. I mean, Jackson Hayes is just not young and not a big center.
And his off the court problems. I mean,
yeah. So, like, you look at this, and there's people out here. They're going to be expensive. Like Buddy Hield is going to be a free agent. You kind of as a shooter, you could use Buddy Hield. He's a great shooter. He's averaging like 15 in his career, 13 at 76ers. You got James Wiseman. He's okay. He's probably not what you're kind of looking for in that. And then you got Hartenstein, or whatever you call him. I think he's going to be a free agent. I think he's another viable player. I like how he plays.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
And they just need shooters. When they had Gerald Green, and they had Dwight Howard in the paint. That was a good team. He needs those types of players around him because Caleb Martin's going to be a player option. He's only making $6.8 million. He's probably going to take his talent somewhere else, out of South Beach. But that's a good option. He's a good shooter, role player. And they didn't have that point guard Gabe Vincent. They didn't have him all season. He was kind of the guy that was going to do that. And he kind of started playing towards the end of the Nuggets series, and you could see the little bit of difference. But if they get him for a full season, maybe that might change. Mason Plumlee is also a big center that's going to be on the market. If I keep looking, I'll find more. Eric Gordon, he's kind of more expensive though. He's only on 3.2. But these kinds of players that they need to go out and get younger bigger centers that may not be able to score a lot. But if you can get LeBron James to score 24 points a game and have like 13 assists a game with all these shooters around him and people that want to play defense and play hard, that's where you can make a championship run. Tyrese Maxey is even he's on a restricted free agency. I don't think he's going to go anywhere.
I doubt it.
They're probably not going to let him go. But, Kelly Oubre, they could get Kelly Oubre. They got Josh Okogie to play some defense. They just need someone to play defense on Jamal Murray. If I'm the Lakers, I'm pointing everything at the Nuggets. You lost twice. You lost twice to them. I'm building my team to beat the Nuggets. I think because if you can beat the Nuggets, you can beat any other team.
Oh yeah.
So that's a team to beat. And the kind of the players that I mentioned, you need size. Play against Jokic. Like if he plays against big people the whole game, it's going to be tough for him to not be tired and wear his legs out. It's Jokic, so he's still going to have 25, 12, and whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's going to help at the end of the games. So they're out of gas. And because when they just finish better than the Lakers, like that's just proven. Then someone that can guard like Kelly Oubre, Josh Richardson, someone that can guard Jamal Murray the whole game. And then obviously like the shooters I talked about. So that's kind of where the Lakers need to look. And then what's kind of I'll go first on this one. What does the offseason kind of look like for LeBron? I think he's going to sign another 2-year deal with the Lakers. I mean, he's a free agent. Yeah, he's got a player option for $49 million. I don't think he's not going to take the player option. He's going to ask for more money, which is insane. But I do think he's going to sign with the Lakers again. And he said that playing with his kid was not one of his options anymore, kind of not what he was looking at, because I don't think that's realistic. But I do think he's going to sign with the Lakers again, and he's going to demand some players around him and the coaches that he wants. Probably JJ Redick. I'm not going to lie. So what do you kind of think LeBron? If LeBron goes somewhere else, like, what are you kind of thinking in his offseason? Like, what do you kind of think's going through in his head?
Yeah, I think he doesn't. I don't think he has much of a choice besides staying in LA. I mean, any team would. I guess any team would be happy to have him, but he's just going to want so much money. Plus, I think the idea of if he does go anywhere that's able to contend, it's going to be somebody else's team already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think he likes the idea of having control over how the team is built around him and how he's able, like the player archetypes he's able to put together. I think he's going to sign probably another 2, maybe. I don't think a 3-year deal. I think this is probably going to be his last contract. Yeah. So he's probably going to sign 2-year, like
player option,
$95 million,
yeah.
somewhere around there.
Yeah, I mean, Paul George is also on the market. If LeBron wants to win another championship, like really wants to win, and doesn't want to make it just absurd amounts of money, he'll take a cut. I know that we've seen that super teams aren't going to work. I mean, but it's LeBron James.
Yeah,
it works with him because he makes it work. Paul George would play defense, and I don't really like James Harden on that team. He's a free agent too, but
no.
But Paul George would play great defense and shoot the ball well. I know he didn't shoot the ball well in the last series, but people are saying he's washed. I'm like, he's 34 years old and he's playing great.
Yeah.
But so kind of moving on into the next. The Bucks have lost. What do you their offseason is going to look like for you?
They have to add youth. I mean, they are a very old team. So I think right now they're projected to have like picks 28 and 33 or something like that.
Yep.
So I mean, there's projected late round guys like Zach Edey or Tyler Kolek. Both I think would be pretty good fits. Edey would, he's a big presence. He'd be able to play around the rim, set screens. Tyler Kolek is a great offensive player, one of the top scorers in the country. So I think those might be some guys they look at.
Do you think they need to break up their big three?
Do
you think that's in the cards?
I don't see anybody taking on Damian Lillard or Giannis.
Yeah.
I could see them moving on from Chris Middleton. I feel like he's been kind of non-existent past year or two. So that would be interesting. I could even see Brook Lopez. I could see Brook Lopez retiring.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in the league for a while, so
yeah, it's kind of hard to see, like, to say what they're gonna do. I mean, Chris Middleton did average a lot in the series, but Giannis didn't play. Damian Lillard didn't play half the series, and they were one of the best teams in the regular season with Giannis. I think they win that series with Giannis. I don't think they need to do anything crazy. Add some pieces. I think their bench is okay. They could be better. Obviously, free agent is going to change that. I could see them moving Bobby Portis somewhere. He's a great bench piece. And honestly one of those pieces that Lakers and the Lakers need. They need someone to score 15 off the bench, or like a fourth man that they can pass to that can score a jumper. But I could see Brook Lopez, retiring, like you said. He's playing well, but Milwaukee just needs some depth. Like when you see Giannis go down, I know that it's obviously Giannis, so when he goes out, there's going to be a huge difference in play. But it's like the Knicks. Julius Randle goes down. A couple other people go down, and they're still going on in the second round. Like that's not always the most important thing. So I don't think they need to break anything up yet. But let's talk about. I kind of added this one. Let's talk about the Suns. What do you think the Suns? A lot of talk from Matt Ishiba that he's going to keep not the same exact team, quote unquote, not the same exact team for the same big three. What do you think the Suns? Should the Suns break up, or should they just keep adding pieces to them?
I think they're in such a tough situation.
Yeah, because
they have $150 million tied up in that big three.
Yep.
I think they move on from Bradley Beal. I don't think he's a good fit for Phoenix. I think he's a good player. He's just not a good fit for Phoenix.
Yeah, they need a point guard, a true point guard.
Yeah.
To fill that role.
And so I think they might be able to get a good amount for him.
And I know we keep talking about the Lakers, but it's already just recent memory. I think he would be a great spot at the Lakers. I don't think they have enough money to go there, but they have a lot of draft capital. But like you said, I do agree that Bradley Beal is not the most exact fit there. Devin Booker should be playing the 2 guard, and there should be a real point guard. Because Bradley Beal is a 2 guard, and if he's playing a 3, that's not the best matchup, for that team.
Yeah,
I do think they should trade Bradley Beal, because everyone's saying that it was Kevin Durant's fault. I mean, he averaged like 35 or something. It was like, I mean, all season he played really well, and he had averaged like 25. He wasn't the most high scoring player in the series. It was Devin Booker, but I do think they have to get more bench pieces. There's not a lot coming from that bench. Grayson Allen had a great year, but one guy is not going to take over that team.
No.
And he's not the best defensive player. Like when you think of Grayson Allen, you're not thinking of a guy that's going to come off the bench and get steals and blocks and stuff. So I do think they need to trade Bradley Beal, but they don't need to break up the whole entire team because they got to get rid of this cap space so they can actually get a bench players. So now we're kind of moving into the NFL. What were I know we kind of jumped from talking about the NBA a lot, but just going right into it, the NFL draft, the later picks were kind of enticing. What's kind of your best late round picks, in the rounds 3 or plus? Because the second round is kind of the first round anyways. So what's kind of your best late round picks?
My first one, I like this because they're reuniting this guy with his quarterback from college. Troy Franklin from Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
He went to the Broncos. I think that's kind of been one of the issues the Broncos have had in recent years is, reliable receivers. I think you give Bo Nix one of his weapons from college. Yeah. They've already got a connection. So I like that. Second one, this one might be a little crazy, but it's Brendan Rice from USC.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the Chargers. I like that too. because Chargers also need wide receivers, and he is the son of the greatest wide receiver of all time.
Right.
So it's it's hard to think that he's got to be able to do something there.
Yeah.
Especially because they have nobody.
I think he's going to play well.
So I think he was a real steal because they got him in the 7th round too.
Yeah.
And then I'm putting the Seahawks in there, drafting Christian Haynes, the offensive guard from UConn.
Mm-hmm.
Strengthening the interior O line. I like that. I think that was a great pick. And then my last one, I think the Jets got an absolute steal in Braylon Allen, the running back from Wisconsin.
Yeah, he's going to be really good.
I mean, you're going to have Breece Hall and Braylon Allen.
And they also shout out Southwest Missouri. They got another running back in the later round from South Dakota State. He played at Joplin actually. So they got Braylon Allen, and another running back and Breece Hall. So that running back room is gonna be great.
And I mean, Braylon Allen is also
jacked.
Like, he's not even 21 yet.
Yeah,
he's so young. Like, it's insane. I think he's gonna have a good amount of success. What about you?
So what I kind of thought was a disrespectful pick at the 3rd round, and one of my favorite players in the college right now, or not right now, but because he obviously got drafted, but this year was Peyton Wilson. He was the number 2 linebacker on the board, like the projected, like he was. I was like, he's the best. He actually won best linebacker award this year, and the most the Dick Buckus best linebacker award. Won the most efficient or MVP basically of defense, the Heisman of the defense this year, and the Steelers got him in the 3rd round.
Yeah,
and it was just because he actually has torn his ACL, and doesn't have an ACL in his knee. No ACL in his knee, and he ran a 4.4. And he hasn't played for he's played for 2 years with no ACL. And they're like, oh, he had the shoulder problems, he had left shoulder problem, he had right shoulder problems, he had torn ACL, he tore his ACL twice in his knee. But the last 2 years he hasn't had any injuries, and he doesn't have an ACL in his knee, and he just won basically the Heisman for defense. And he went in the 3rd round. That's where I'm like, okay, guys, he can play ball.
Yeah.
That's one of mine that I kind of picked. And you kind of watch like all these. I'm like, of course the Steelers have an A+ draft, because Kelly obviously loves the Steelers. But I like your pick of the Oregon player, the Oregon wide receiver. He's going to be great. And then also I kind of know him. One of my football friends actually played high school with him. Defensive tackle Mekhi Wingo. He's an undersized player, and that's what he kind of mentioned. My buddy kind of mentioned to me, but he was a dog. He played at LSU. He picked 189 to the Detroit Lions. I do think the Detroit Lions. He's kind of reminds me of the way Mekhi Wingo plays. It's kind of like Aaron Donald. Okay, he's the size of Aaron Donald, and he plays like him. Is not him at all. Obviously later round, he's a smaller 3-tech is basically what I mean. So, I think he's going to be okay, and I think the Lions are going to find a spot for him. I'm trying to, I don't really like this pick, but I like this player. I think Joe Milton, getting picked by the Patriots. I don't think he's going to be, Drake May.
No.
But I like how I don't understand why the Patriots picked him.
Yeah.
But I do like him as a quarterback. He's going to be okay. He's going to be a great backup. Now, as I'm kind of just thinking, those are kind of the top. Peyton Wilson was really my top. Like, I cannot believe he went in the 3rd round. Also shout out the Bears. Best kicker in the Tom Brady kicker, the punters, went in the 4th round. And he's gonna be so good. They already, I don't mean to laugh, but they already waived our punter, so he's already number one spot, and he is literally Tom Brady of punting. He was on Iowa, so he did a lot of punting, a lot of practice, and he's literally gonna pin him deep, and our defense is gonna play so well. So that would probably be my top four. And also shout out another UCM guy, went to the Cowboys, Ryan Flournoy.
Saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, and also another UCM guy. I like to say UCM. They went here for a couple years and then got better when they went D1. But Ryan Flournoy and Dominic Pooney played at Kansas. He went to the 49ers, and then Ryan Flournoy went to the Cowboys. They're probably gonna make both their teams, and so I'm excited for them. But so yeah, let's see what else we got. Oh, a couple DFA signings that will maybe make an impact on the team. I don't know. This was kind of hard to find because there's so many, but I have a couple. I do have a couple.
I've got a few.
Go ahead. You go ahead. You go first.
My first one is Cody Schrader.
Yeah.
From Mizzou.
I can't believe
signed with the 49ers. He led the SEC in rushing this year, which is, like Mizzou isn't the best team in the SEC at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were solid this year, but the fact that somebody from Mizzou led, and he played at Truman State before that.
Yeah.
Like, he just went insane. I really can't believe the leading rusher in the SEC didn't get drafted.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, honestly.
My second one is Javion Cohen. He's a guard from Miami. He signed with the Browns. I think, just boosting their offensive line. He also played at Alabama. So, that helps a lot. I think his stock.
Right.
I think he'll make his team. And then this last one's a Florida guy. Kingsley.
Oh yeah.
Aquacun.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say his last name. He's a center signed with the Lions. I think they signed 2 undrafted centers. But they need that because Frank Ragnow was hurt last year. And that was something they didn't really address last season at all.
Right.
So I think, that was a good move.
All right. For mine, I'm gonna go with a quarterback, Sam Harton. I don't think he's gonna be like one of those. He's gonna make a difference, as in he's gonna be a great backup quarterback. I think when he goes in, he's gonna be a solid player. I forgot where he signed. I didn't even write that down. He signed by the Commanders. I think he's going to be great when if Jalen Daniels gets hurt, Jaden Daniels gets hurt. I think he'd be fine going in and playing backup. He's a solid quarterback. If you watch him at Notre Dame, he can play in the pocket, play NFL football. And then from one of my guys, UCM, actually another one UCM guy, for real played at UCM this time. He signed with the Rams, Jay Littlejiga. He's the biggest dude I've ever seen in my life. 320 pounds. Okay, this is his pro day. 320 pounds, and he ran a 5 flat in a 40.
Jesus.
He had, I think, 32 reps on bench press. He jumped a 34 vertical, I think.
Holy cow!
320 pounds, 6'3", 320 pounds, and he signed with the Rams. He's a freak of nature, like the fastest, and he's also a great football player and a great dude. So I'm excited. I actually think that he is a true. I'm not being biased. You look at his 40, and how his explosiveness. He could be really, really good. He can pass rush. He is really good at the bull rush. Obviously, he's powerful. He's gonna get shaped up by these, the these NFL coaches, and I think he's actually going to be really good, and he can play in the preseason, and he'll make the team. I really do think he'll make the team. He is just that much of a force inside, and he played the end here, but he's probably going to play 3 tech in the NFL. He gained like 30 pounds or something. That's why he's playing at 320. So I am kind of excited for him and Sam Hartman. So I think that's about it. All right. And to announce, guys, at the end of this podcast, we actually got our first sponsorship. Raid Shadow Legends. We're gonna doing some sponsorship streams, posting everywhere. So go ahead and follow us on Instagram, follow us on X, and you guys have a great night.